one of the things that we found is, okay, we've done a great job at securing the perimeter, right? But what happens if they breach that perimeter? And, well, we got more doors, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of schools, a lot of hospitals, a lot of manufacturing avoid this topic because it's going to be a ton of dough to run cable to every door, to, provide
Redo
access
all the
back to a
locks.
panel, all these things. So one of the beautiful things that's out there in the world is wireless locking. And we have the ability to have wireless locks tied back to our existing access control systems. And with that, now we can secure all the interior doors.
Welcome to episode 3 of Push the Talk, sponsored by Beck Tech. I am here with the great and honorable Brit Miller, CEO, president of Beck Tech. Brit, glad that you're here and you can join us.
Yeah, man. You think a guy that, put it on the line and, bought this company could get on an episode prior to 3. But I've really enjoyed the PTT, the Push to Talk podcast, and like how we're getting information out. And it really is a great thing for, kind of that new buyer and what we're seeing out in the marketplace. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad I get to participate today and looking forward to it.
That's right. We're glad you could join us for 30 minutes here today.
Yes, sir.
And fit that into your busy schedule. A lot of people know you from Illinois football days, right? Playing football at Eisenhower, Illinois.
Yeah.
The Niners, St. Louis Rams. How was that? How was your experience influenced being a business owner? Your team here
Big time.
at Beck Tech, and how was it influence your experience growing up in the Motorola business now?
Yeah. So the football piece of my life, it's definitely two lives, right? Like.
Yep.
You got to have the privilege to play at the University of Illinois, and another privilege after that was to play in the NFL and become a captain. One of my crowning achievements was that I was voted on as a captain at all levels of football for me. So high school, the University of Illinois, and then in the pros. And what a lot of people don't know about the pros, being a captain there, is that's voted on only by your teammates. That has nothing to do with popularity, has nothing to do with like outside influences. It's who respects who in the locker room. That really meant a lot to me at the St. Louis, when I was with the St. Louis Rams, to be their special teams captain. And at that time, special teams was lawless country. You'd run down the field and, there's nothing like running fast and hitting hard. And so that's where I thrived and ended up making a name for myself in the NFL. But, a lot of similarities, and we have these conversations a lot, but it's how we do things here. I believe in training for 40 hours to perform for 3, right? And so since we've taken over in the ownership role, we've done a lot more training. We believe in that. We've tried to strive and give those guys in the back, our technicians and our sales reps, the ability to train so they're ready for those opportunities. Because one of the big things I learned in the NFL and in college was always say yes. Britt, can you play special teams? I don't know, but I say yes.
Right.
And then also leading with the confidence. We've been in these situations. I've been in big situations before, with how we approach our public safety and the role that we play in other people's safety roadmaps, whether it's school districts or hospitals, what have you. I think you got to be willing to stand on both feet, look them in the eye and say, we can do this, deliver on that, and then let them enjoy in that success. And football's kind of given me that confidence to go out and lead people, lead men. And, in this business, we have a lot of women in the business, and that's been great because they've given us a lot of, other opinions and, what's important to them. So that's been fun. But really just that ability to go out, be among 100 people. That's what I always say about football players. If you want to look for a leader, look for somebody that's been successful in the football field, because they're dealing with 100 different types of people, 100 different, different goals, and all of that amongst that team. How do we corral that and make that a successful business? And so a lot of that traverses down, and football was fun. It's a great part of my life, but at the same time, that stuff's over, and it's really time to give back to the community that give a lot to me. And I've had a lot of support from beginning to end of my football career, and so Yeah, I still get to coach and give back that way.
Yeah.
But I think what we do here at Beck Tech, I always tell people everything we sell makes your community safer.
Yeah,
and I
I
feel good
agree.
about that.
I agree.
I
It
feel great
matters,
about
right?
that. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yep.
We've been together 10 plus years.
Yeah. Yes,
Kind of
we
growing
have.
up in this business, right?
Yes,
and learning under your father-in-law, Matt
Yep.
Beck. Now been retired a little over a year now.
Yep.
And very thankful for his service to the community as well too, and the Motorola side of the business.
Yeah, Matt did a heck of a job. And, there's a lot of tough times as young people coming
Yeah.
up in this business. And, we both kind of got a later start, in my opinion, because you had your career in selling in other industries and kind of brought that knowledge to us. But, what Matt really did for us was he set a hard line. He showed us the right way.
Yep.
And he also showed us that hard work matters. I mean,
I agree.
and,
Yeah.
maybe, my misconception coming into this business 11 years ago, actually coming up pretty soon,
Yeah.
my 11th year
That's
anniversary,
right.
was that it was going to be easy because it wasn't football. And that's just not the case, So
Right.
then a lot of people, in my opinion, and from my point of view, like a lot of what they were doing in the community started to make sense. And, being able to partner with those kind of people that Matt kind of put us in touch with and gave us the ability to go sell to and believed in us to
Right.
give them the proper,
The
solutions.
tools and
Exactly.
solutions, yeah.
And he gave us that, but everything's changed, right?
Yep.
So in the 10 years we've been doing this, it's very different.
Well, tell me a little bit about it. We've had Victor from Motorola on.
Yep.
We've had Vidya on about, talking about cybersecurity,
Cybersecurity.
which is still really, really big. But
Yeah, and in its infancy, in our opinion.
yeah,
it's-
what in the last 5 or 6 years, with our partnerships with Motorola, Hanwha, Teldio, some of
Right.
these technology partners we've brought on or been partners with, how has the market changed?
Yeah.
What are you seeing for trends? Tell us a little bit about that. From our experience, there was a lot of disparate systems at
Big time.
at the beginning,
That's exactly where I was headed with
and
it.
now things things are very integrated.
Right. So
Elaborate on that a little bit.
yeah, so in our 10 years, when we first started, it was selling radios. Like, hey, how many radios you sell a day? Was it, I got 10 out, or I got 50, I got a big one, you know? And, that was where we were filling a need, I think. And then as we grew as professionals, we started thinking of it from our customers' point of view. What kind of problems did our customers have?
Right.
And a lot of that was what you mentioned. We had all these disparate systems. You'd have a guy running your surveillance system. You'd have one guy running access control, and then one person probably over the radios, which used to be the maintenance guy. And where we've seen all this is now it's all under one roof, and that's the IT roof. And so we've had to go from speaking that kind of that maintenance, me to you operational speak to this higher tier, kind of guardian of the whole ship IT speak. And so our ability to kind of change in that role, I've been very, very proud of. But at the same time, Motorola has invested all that money into all these different companies. So now we actually have that ability to integrate. And so whenever I'm talking to people, and I still get the questions, much like you do,
Right.
like, oh, what do you guys do?
Yeah.
Well, we do a little bit of a lot,
Yeah.
And but a lot of what I talk about is, hey, we used to only sell one type of product, and now we take our 3 pillars, which are access control, video, and radio, and now we can integrate all those together, amongst other things. But once you talk to that customer, that just your friend, and they start applying it to their life, like, man, that's great. And the other thing that I really love about where we're headed, and I think we're very close to being there, is safety and security used to always be reactive, right? It used to be, oh, I saw this guy on the camera, let's go back and look at it, or our access control didn't work, what happened? Now we have all these platforms that are proactive.
Yep, I agree.
The weapons detection or the weapons alert on our cameras now. And I know we got more to talk about whenever a couple different vendors coming into that world, which is, we have gun analytics, so we can talk, we can see somebody come in with a long barrel rifle or an unholstered weapon into a building, and without any human interaction at all, that door can lock based on what that camera's seeing. I mean, I have 4 kids, you have kids, and what better feeling knowing that if I can't be there as a dad to protect them, which is my one job in this world that means the most, right, is protecting my children and my family. If I can't be there to do that, do we have the technology at these places that my children are, attending to help keep them safe? And I know that you do this as well as I do, and I think a lot of our sales reps is take it personally. treat everybody as they're your kid and your child, and invest in that end user or that customer, because that's the only way we're going to get where we want to get. And so back to your original question, how's it changed? It's changed every day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we're in a ton better position to accomplish real safety goals, and the real safety curriculum that we're putting out there. We actually have the tools to do that now. It's just not a pie in the sky kind of sell.
Right, which 10 years ago, I was like, man, I wish we could really do that.
Right.
Motorola's have the Solving for Safer platform used to be Safety Reimagined, and we got several clients, school districts, hospitals looking at it. It's been integrated all over the place in Central Illinois. We had a conversation yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Down south, south of Decatur. And one of the discussions was, we would want to be the first down south. What a trend of that I guess I'm starting to see. And my question here is, from the bigger communities versus smaller communities, who's adopting this quicker? And do you see this as a need to have versus must? I like to have versus need to have. In these smaller school districts, smaller communities,
right?
What are you starting to see bigger communities versus smaller rural communities?
So
what's happening?
You know what? I talked to our sales reps and I talked to just our inside sales leads, everything. And I really like that small to medium sized customer and that small to medium sized school district. And I like them for certain reasons. There's less bureaucracy, less people to kind of motivate to get things done. So, that's been a great find for us. But I've also think that the adoption rate has increased in the small to mediums because of that.
Yep.
And I think sometimes they feel a tad bit more connected to those students because they're at their houses and all that kind of stuff. So, initially, due to some price tags and some of those things out there, I didn't know that small schools would adopt, but they've really taken their time, assessed the solution as a whole. Yeah. I know we've been through some battles and really had to defend our platform, and the people that have chosen us have really reaped those benefits. So
I agree.
The adoption of the small schools has been phenomenal, and I think they're able to kind of implement their ships a little quicker because they're smaller ships, right? But the bigger school districts and the wins that we are kind of on the cusp of with a lot of our larger school districts is that's going to be learning for us, right? That's going to be a lot of, hey, what was the tipping point? And and we know that there's issues and kids these days deal with more than we've ever dealt with. And I do feel for them in a major way. But we as adults and leaders in this community and the communities that we service have to bring them the solutions that matter. And we're doing that with our Solving for Safer platform. The bigger schools, I think they're going to have a larger impact, not only on our business, but on the kids within those schools. Yeah. I think it's on us just to maintain that, kind of singularity where we don't care. I don't I want it for a preschool to a college. I want it from, I think everybody fits this model. And I also think, what's very important to get out to our end users is this isn't cookie cutter. This isn't one way and one size fits all kind of a deal. Is we get in there and we figure out where your pain points are. We figure out what it is that's important to you, and then we try to solve those problems. But Motorola, has really given us the tools to go out and do that. So, the smaller schools, we've seen adoption quicker, and I think they've seen results quicker. But I will say that, the few bigger school districts that we can kind of have on the hook this year and years to come, those benefits will match the small schools. We just haven't seen as much adoption yet.
We're starting to see a lot of customers go up to the Experience Center up in Motorola. Yep. If you haven't been and you're a customer of ours or looking at some sort of safety security platform, we highly suggest booking a time with us. We'll get you up there. They have everything from door access to video surveillance, concealed weapons detection, the two-way radio systems, all interconnected through Orchestrate.
Yes, sir.
Through that platform, Command Aware. We're starting to see a lot of safer cities, right?
Yeah.
It's not just education. We're starting to see safer cities. We're starting to see even some manufacturers that not the big boys, right? That are starting to adopt safety. Can you talk a little bit about that and what we're doing in the communities? Maybe here, maybe in other areas of Central Illinois.
So
for safety.
Big time. So I'll say this. What we like to refer to as our public-private partnership is really getting these business owners and, just residents of certain areas to understand what high megapixel cameras will do for police officers in that area. Getting, our vigilant solution out there, which is our ability to detect speeders and our ability to detect cars that are stolen or somebody that might have a missing child.
Threw a rock at a car.
Yeah, we found that one. But the ability to have instantaneous results through video and have that public-private partnership where the investment does come from the people, because the city's investing, yes, but if the residents or the business owners will match some of that investment to get cameras in places that are needed, and then also to share those, right? Like, so our typical our winning strategy there is to show them the platform, but then also say why this is important, because the city can't do everything, right? We're already dealing with police officer shortages. We're dealing with that, and probably every city we really service, right? And so what is a police officer? That's that person that can administer the law. Well, if we have cameras out there and we can assist in these investigations, we keep them from behind their desks way more, because they do have to fill out all this paperwork. I feel for the police officers that that are in there filling out those reports. I mean, you might have a 30-second incident that costs you 4 hours worth of paperwork. So the more we can have right on a video screen, watermarked and ready for litigation,
and it's not just cameras, right? It's the technology behind the cameras, right? It's
big time.
It's the AI layered on.
Yeah, and when we talk about AI, everybody talks about AI. Well, what's AI in our world? Our ability to utilize AI is not, reprinting papers.
Yeah, it's basically machine learning is really what it breaks down to.
And everything that we sell in our environment and our ecosystem through the Solving for Safer platform has the AI abilities to detect people and vehicles. Those are really the only two troublemakers in this whole earth, right? And so what we're trying to do is give our end users the ability to track these people down quicker. And, that's a resource. We're saving them a lot of time. And the other thing is where we get is that proactive piece, right?
Correct, yeah.
So we use AI not only to detect the people, but the weapon that they're carrying.
Right.
And all that. So my goal and my hope, and when I talk about every time we sell something, our communities get safer, is when that weapon shows up on campus, I want the school to be alerted immediately. I want those doors to be locked, and I want kids to shelter in place until the professionals get there and deal with that situation. That will be one of my proudest moments, is to make sure that our technology works in those days that are your worst days.
Yep.
And we always talk about it, right? It's, hey, I'm going to build you a system that works for your day-to-day needs, but we're going to be here whenever it's your worst day. And that's a staple, right? That's why we don't go cheap. That's why we do it the right way, and we test it in those rough scenarios. Because if we don't, how do we know that it's going to work whenever they're having that terrible time, that thing that we never want to talk about for our children?
And so we talked about that a little bit yesterday with that school district we've been working with recently, and the bigger school district down south, and taking a hard look at everything. The comments that got brought up was about weapons detection. Was we demoed the concealed weapons detection, let everybody walk through, superintendent, the assistant superintendent, all the director of safety security and his safety guys. It's not just, hey, let's put a camera out, let's watch what's going on. It's a multiple layered approach to where if that person shows up on a manufacturing campus, not just a school district.
Right, we've had that.
At your office,
yes,
right? That it can trigger an alert right away to notify you, whether it's a mobile app on the radio, doors can get locked down right away.
Right.
If they do make it through, maybe someone's already sitting there, ready to walk them out, or gun in hand, or whatever it may be, right? To protect our family, our students, the employees, whoever that may be.
Right, and that's what these officers are asking for, is some situational awareness. We already ask a lot of them to show up when everybody's having a pretty bad day.
Yep.
And so if they can show up and not have to assess the situation instantaneously and make a human decision. If we could show up and have a little bit of time to process, hey, where's that assailant? Where's this person? What's really kind of going on? Then we get the full story. And I think that's very important for, to administer justice in the communities we serve. But at the same time is, what happens if they don't have this stuff? How hard is their job? How we're making it harder on the people that we've, believe it to protect us. So we as business owners and just residents, our community, have got to kind of take that onus up anyway. Because the only time things get done is when we do it, right? Like you can't ask other people to do stuff that you need done. And so with our ability to provide that to these communities, the live monitoring of exterior cameras down at the police station or in any community, that's huge. That gives them the ability to solve crimes quicker and keep them out in the public, which is where we want them.
Yeah. You talked about training earlier. We talk about a little bit more of the investment we have made in the solving for safer platforms with the Avigilon and Orchestrate and some of those other products. What we've done here at a company just in the last 2 to 3 years to help protect our investments and from a training perspective with our technicians and why is that important for we're a badge partner with Motorola. Badge meaning we've been through a lot of certifications and on-site deployments and kind of get recognized from Motorola for that. Can you kind of talk about that and elaborate?
Yeah,
from a Beck Tech perspective.
Yeah, so it was very important for us to become a badge partner. So we were Safety Reimagined Badged certified as soon as it happened. We were invited to the beta program. Where we got to go to Schaumburg, and we really got to invest our time with Motorola leadership and tell them what we needed. And what we needed was that convergence, that integration, and they finally had that platform through Orchestrate to tie all of our pillars of our business together. And then we saw instantaneous reaction from our customer base, right? And so whenever we decided to make that turn in our business, now that investment in training became paramount because you can't live your brand. And, in football, we call it you can't live soft and fight hard, right? So I didn't expect you to be like a polo wearing, suit coat guy and go out and tackle, Iowa's running back 20 times, So, and kind of how I swing that into our world is we gotta live what we're selling, So the training investment was huge. And then you're going to see it in our headquarters here in Decatur, where we are investing in our own innovation center because I do know about some people's dislike for Chicago, and I'm indifferent. I do like Chicago when I'm there, but traveling there and in and out does not my favorite moments. But the fact that we can provide something locally to our customer base, they can come in and get a big city experience, see all the technology that Motorola provides and which we provide as a badge partner. We're going to have that right in our front lobby, and we're creating our own innovation center. So. A lot of excitement about that in our business, and but our ability to kind of get the message out quicker to our end users, I think it's going to have not only going to be great for business, but at the same time, what's our goal, right? My goal is to make every community we go to safer,
right?
And so we are going to have that ability here in Decatur, Illinois, and it's just another great thing.
Exciting.
And and a lot of other partners don't do that. So there's only 78 badge partners in the U.S. out of about 100 or out of about 428 partners. And we run that whole gamut. So the training piece, getting back to that original question is. It's paramount, right? Because if we can't deliver on our promises, then we don't need to be in business. And we've had a great buy-in from our technical staff. I'm very proud of what our sales staff's done, on up to our COO and Christine Chandler, who has had to manage all these changes, right, and how we do business. So the fact that training, back to my original statement, I believe in training for 40 hours to play for 3. And we're instituting that same thing with our technicians. And the other thing we give those guys is a lot of leeway because we also don't want to force them into corners, right? Like with our technicians, like, hey, what are you interested in our business? What's the thing that like just kind of draws you the most? And we try to expound upon that, right? Because there's nothing worse than going to work every day and not liking what you're doing.
That's right.
And so we take that serious. And one of the promises I made those guys is if you stick with us. My goal is to bring every single one of you guys back, from the technicians on up to the C-level guys in our business. I want to see all these same faces every year because that's the only way we get better and more consistent. And that's training to start, and then a commitment to those guys for completing those trainings and continuing to deliver for our customers.
Agree. And Motorola's invested in us as
heavily.
Well too.
Yes,
very heavily, especially the innovation center that is going to go under construction soon. and hopefully be finished by summertime, we think.
Yeah, we're looking to have
fall.
looking to have that thing up by summertime. It's not something we want to rush through.
Yep.
But at the same time, I think it's imperative. We do have that option for all of our customers to go up and visit Chicago at the Innovation Center and see it kind of really in depth. But to give them, I would say, a very similar view and a very similar experience here in Decatur is going to be phenomenal, especially just because not everybody has the time in their day, to go to Chicago or make that plan. I mean, how many Zoom meetings do we have and webinars and all that, because we need to be in multiple places at one time. So I think making that investment into our innovation center is very similar to how we invest in training, because it all matters, because it's all going to get us to that end goal, which is a safer community.
Yep. And a happy customer, right?
Well, that and that too.
Yeah. So a couple more things here, and we'll get you out of here. Talk about the ownership role.
Yeah.
How it's kind of changed your life a little bit over the last year or so, or a little over a year now.
A little over a year, yep.
How it's changed your role in the community. And you used to go to Champaign a ton, and you had that market. You dealt with U of I. You still deal with a lot of those customers. And,
Yep.
Talk about your ownership role. What are you looking forward to here, to finish off 2024 over the next 8 months or so, or
Yes,
whatever, and what are some goals that you have in mind, and just so our community kind of hears it,
Of course.
and
Well,
there.
as a whirlwind, right? Kind of how it all started is we signed the paperwork to purchase this company from my father-in-law on November 23rd. And then I think the following day was Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And then the day after Thanksgiving, we won a state championship.
there you go. That was back in 2022, right?
Yeah. So with the won a state championship there with St. Teresa, and from then on, it's been drinking from a fire hose, right? It's a small business, so we have a lot of things that we just know inherently that I had to kind of relearn. Definitely not a large corporate structure where everything's just kind of laid out. So some of that gray area has been a lot of fun and caused a lot of late nights too. But the one thing
I understand that.
Yeah, right. But I will say, being in the ownership role, there's nights, right, where you're sitting there and now we're, what are we up to, about 45 people in this company with our previous acquisitions as well. And it's just like, you got 45 people depending on you to, be the leader, to make sure you're standing on your 2 feet and delivering for the things that you're telling them, along with your customer base. So, I spent a lot of time thinking about, what if, and those sorts of things. But I will say the culture has just been phenomenal. I really do think that a lot of, if you're in an organization, whether it's a team or a work culture or what have you, is a lot of people take on traits of their leaders. And so I've seen a change in some of these younger guys here that they're taking on more. They're not taking risks, but 5 years ago I'd have told you they were risky. What I mean by that is, a guy might say, I'm not comfortable doing that alone. Right. And that was probably the previous regime and kind of having that fear of failure. And now it's like, hey, if we're going to fail, we're going to fail together. We're going to figure it out, and then we're never going to fail again. Yep. And that's kind of the expectation. But being in a leadership role and being a guy that they can come to and have a direct line to the top, I felt like that's very important. And just the simple fact of being where we are, working here for 10 years. Sometimes it's, we asked for a lot, now we got it. What are we going to do with it? Yep. But at the same time, I think the one thing that keeps me grounded is we are serving the community we grew up in, first and foremost. Yep. And then all of our other adopted communities that we've come to know and love and do work with and, investing in, like asking, police chiefs about how their kids doing on Friday night football and like all that stuff. So you really do get into, kind of this, relationship selling relationship selling. But at the same time, that's how I live my life, man. I want to know people. I want to figure out how to help them solve problems, because we all know this in the business world, right? Like you're trying to fix something, avoid something, or accomplish something. That's right. And once we know these things, we can really help. But in the safety and security world, I think we only get one chance, right? Because something bad happens, you're never going to get that chance again.
I agree.
And so as a business owner, we got to take that serious. We do keep it light around here from a standpoint that I want people to be comfortable when they come to work. I want them to want to be here because I think if you want to be somewhere, you are going to have a far better chance of success if you want to be here and you want to be a pleaser and you want to get the job done right, as opposed to I have to do it because it's my job.
Yeah.
And I've had jobs like that.
Yeah,
So
I know.
Trying
No,
to
it's a good
avoid
thing.
that for our 45 strong here. And I can't say enough about your presence here. I really do appreciate it. It's not just podcast love. Like, you've done a great job getting our
Appreciate that.
sales guys, where they need to be and continue to educate them and teach them hard things too, right?
Yeah.
Like, because deals do fall through and things happen. And so it's been great to see you guys grow in that role. And, I'm just trying to make sure that we have what we need, a la the Innovation Center, vehicles, tools, training. And so managing all that takes a lot, not only, and then me and Eric are back in the field selling. So, that's been a lot of fun too, kind of getting back in the run of things. But I do miss my Champaign folks, kind of getting over there and seeing a lot of like my college guys and all that. But, the truth of the matter is what matters is us. What matters is the product that we're putting out and us delivering and continuing to, solve for safer and whatever other mantra we come up with. But, I'm really liking that one right now.
Awesome. I'm going to put you on the spot real quick.
Thanks.
Couple quick hitters here, and then we're going to get you out of here. All right. Favorite color?
Blue.
Okay. Favorite dinosaur?
I mean, I know Velociraptor's not a real dinosaur. I know it's not a real dinosaur, but because it was on Jurassic Park, I think it's real. But if not, I got to go T-Rex. I'm a carnivore for sure.
All right. Last question. The growing trend that we're seeing right now in the security world.
Wireless locks. We've had to take on a couple projects where us being the integrator has given us the opportunity to look at other technologies. Yep. And one of the things that we found is, okay, we've done a great job at securing the perimeter, right? But what happens if they breach that perimeter? And, well, we got more doors, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of schools, a lot of hospitals, a lot of manufacturing avoid this topic because it's going to be a ton of dough to run cable to every door, to provide access back to a panel, all these things. So one of the beautiful things that's out there in the world is wireless locking. And we have the ability to have wireless locks tied back to our existing access control systems. And with that, now we can secure all the interior doors. So, I mean, the stats show if a door is locked, and I think that this is true as of, I want to say, like 2022, whenever we're in one of our big Motorola meetings, is there's never been a fatality in a school shooting behind a locked door. All right? That is nuts. And so what are we doing? We definitely need to lock doors because they're going to get in. But a lot of these people don't have plans as to, well, how am I going to get this?
They want an indicator. They want to know it's locked too.
Exactly.
Right? They want to get that alert.
Yeah. And so if we know that, and I know that, say an active aggressor in a school situation or a manufacturing situation has to get through multiple doors and multiple layers, well, they're there to do maximum impact. That doesn't interest them unless they're looking for one person. And so, like, even the science behind it and, all the horror stories that are out there. So we're taking preventative measures to offer that to our customer base. And I love that, right? And because there's no sense in building a beautiful car if we're not going to put the tires on it. Right. And we're not going to drive it and use it. And
it's also mobile credentials from your cell phone, right? They could see right there, like whose door's locked, who's unlocked. They could hit a button. They could lock it right away.
That's right.
Bluetooth connectivity with that phone as well, too. Wi-Fi connectivity with the wireless locking. And it makes it a lot easier to redo classroom doors, storage room doors.
It makes it economical, right?
Yeah, very economical.
And then the last piece to that in a real life situation is whenever the police come to clear those rooms, now we can give access to those people that matter that are in that command center.
Even on a lockdown scenario.
Exactly. So they'll come in and they can override and escort children out in a safe and secure manner. So, I mean, these are the things like whenever my friends ask me, what do you do all day? Yeah. And those are the things that I'm trying to explain. It's just like, I'm just going to go out and do it, man. Because, if you're not living in that world every day, or if you're not a teacher, or if you're not a parent, for example, it's hard to explain the need and the love and everything that goes into it. And
Right.
so the fact that we have a product offering to help make sure these kids get home or your loved ones get home, whether it be the police officers or the manufacturers, even a nurse at a hospital, we have that technology to help, and it's on us to get that done.
Yep.
And but that is one of the things I'm most excited about because what business doesn't have doors? What school doesn't have doors, what manufacturing. And so now we're taking a very novel concept and being able to apply that in a major way. And I'm telling you, that's one of the trends that, and I like it because I really feel like it takes us soup to nuts. We do it all from beginning to end. So looking forward to that this year. And, our goals as always, man, is to continue to grow, continue to provide a great product, and continue to lead by example.
All right. I'm going to ask you a question. One last question.
All right.
Summarize this in 30 seconds, Brit.
Yes, sir.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm a parent first, run a business here, and that business is, helping provide safety solutions to any type of entity, any type of person, and then, coach, and I'm here to help. And so
Awesome.
From a day-to-day basis, that's what we do, and that's what I want everybody to do in this company.
Solving for safer, right?
Hey,
Safety
every day,
Reimagined.
solving for safer.
Every day.
Yes, sir.
Brit Miller, we appreciate your time here. I know you're busy. You got a lot of other meetings to get off to, weightlifting and St. Teresa, whatever it may be
Yeah.
with the football team. Thank you again for joining us on episode 3 of Push to Talk.
Sayonara.